If you are looking into buying cheap and safe FIFA coins, look no further than footcoinshop.net. They have the fastest service, an incredible loyalty reward system, and the best prices around. Use my creator code Inception when you sign up for your account and get a 5% discount with your order. Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the new evolutions to take a look at. Apparently today is going to be a paid evolution, so this video should do well on the YouTube channel because obviously people are always very curious about these ones in particular. So the evolutions today is going to be called Rare Defender Upgrade. Okay, so we're going to take a look at what types of cards you could potentially get from this. You could already see that David Alaba is the main card up front. So the upgrades that you can get is your defensive work rate is changed into a high defensive work rate. Gonna be honest with you, from some of the selections that I see from the websites right now, from the evolution upgrades, there's a few cards that definitely is going to benefit from that quite a bit. Okay, so to unlock these cards, play one rivals or champs match and then win one squad battles game. To be honest, these guys are not that horrible to use in game, so it's not completely terrible to do. And then the second one is to win two squad battles, play one rivals or champs match again, right? So you're paying for this evo, but your grind is not that long for it. So do I even have players in my team for this? Oh, Saliba is one of the main ones. Okay, so I actually do have a Saliba for this account. I actually, on this account, might evo that, maybe. It just depends, I guess, right? Let's take a look at some of the options that we have to work with from this evolutions upgrade. So the first one that you're going to clearly see here is going to be Cancelo's card. Now, the reason why Cancelo is going to be a really, really big card to look at is because he receives a work rate change that is a really big deal in this card. So what happens with these evolutions is that, one, he receives an intercept plus, right? So that's the main difference between that and the other card. And then instead of being a high-low work rated card, you can clearly see that in game over here, his defensive work rate is changed to high. So over here, it doesn't actually show for footbin. So what we're actually gonna do here is we're gonna go to foot.gg because I don't think they update quick enough here on the bins, right? So let's go to the evolutions. The new one is the rare defender upgrade, and then we'll go to eligible play or the evolved players, and then we'll go to I have to like basically skip between both of the websites to see like the top tier ones and some of the sentimental ones you could potentially get, right? So with Cancelo, he's gonna look like this, right? So this is a direct upgrade from the rare gold version of the card. He now turns into a high work rated player with a 4-star capability, and then you give him a shadow chemistry style. He's working with 97 acceleration, 88 for sprint speed, and defensive stats is going to be in a better area. So this is not a terrible choice by any means, especially with the links you could potentially have with the Barcelona players, the Portuguese players in your team. Like, I don't know if you guys did like a evolutions João Felix, but that'd be a huge variable to work with potentially, right? So that wouldn't necessarily be bad to work with whatsoever. I have to just check to make sure that my music is actually not going through into my actual recording when I'm doing this on stream, and it's not good. So Cancelo definitely going to be a very good option to work with. He already has really good initial play styles too. Trivela, first touch, technical, block, whipped pass. I've already used the Trailblazers version of this card from the upgrade versions, right? So the evolutions version is this one right here, which is the 88. Compared to the Trailblazers, this is the difference between the two, right? So the Trailblazers is a -1 in the defense and physical, but the Trailblazers is a plus in the shooting. So if you guys have ever used the Trailblazers version of Cancelo, the card is actually pretty decent. However, you have to be mindful that the difference of price is going to basically be, I would say, like a 50K to essentially get that difference in a play style as well as the work rate, right? Because this card is still high-low work rated, and this card also has the technical plus, whereas the other card has intercept plus. So it really just depends on what your direction is. I really like the difference of the evolution and the Trailblazers because this one having a high work rate kind of makes him play a little bit differently, especially with intercept plus. Then the other one is a high-low, so you want to use them on the attack anyways and utilize that technical plus. So the difference between the two is actually pretty cool to work with for the most part, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to go over here, go to the popular choices, and we're going to go to a rare defender upgrade. There we go. So that way we can kind of go back and forth. The next one is going to be Saliba's card. Saliba does not have any sort of promo card as of recently. and this card genuinely performs really well in game. For the first owner account, I still use the rare gold version of Saliba over a lot of center backs in the game because he genuinely performs really well, right? And what's interesting about him is that, one, he's already a medium high, so that's not going to be a main difference of the card. However, with the card having Intercept Plus now, while already having very good playstyles in Jockey and Anticipate, and then his body type working a certain way with his defensive animations, this is a pretty solid card to go with as well, because in his case, obviously, if we take a look at the upgrades with him, he is going to get Intercept Plus, and with the pace boost, it puts him in a pretty decent area when it comes to the pace department too, right? 88 for acceleration, 97 for sprint speed, pace, animation, pretty decent in game. He has very good defensive stats. The only thing that's low is heading accuracy, but he's essentially very high in multiple areas of the card while also working with good physical capability. So on the Road to Glory account, if we continue to play games on that account, this is not going to be a bad option to work with if we want further improvements in the future. So especially with the first owner Road to Glory stuff, 150k to put on this card. I mean, we've seen that they put someone like Hernandez for 300k as an SBC, right? 300k SBC and Hernandez compared to the Saliba. This Saliba card for me defends better, right? So that's a variable that you have to consider when it comes to the potential improvements compared to the rare gold version, which is 3/4s, which in my opinion makes a really big difference. So I don't mind the price range for a card like this, for the potential that he could be for sure. The next one is going to be Nkunku. So Nkunku is a little bit different because I think originally he is a medium work rated player, but now he's a little bit different because he's a medium high. Now people right off the bat are saying that this is a huge L. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't fully think that this is a huge L because with this card, you have to understand that he can still be your attacking oriented center mid pushing forward because he still has the medium work rate that never changed, but his defensive work rate to potentially push back into that cover wing area, especially for a 4-3-2-1, could be a really cool thing to work with. So I'm not completely against the work rate change, especially if you want your team to line up a certain way, because imagine using a player that's a medium work rated card and he's being played in like the right mid position, for instance, on like, I don't know, let's say we would go to this card, right? The pace on this card is at a 92, 93, and you want to use him in those roles like the third center mid that could attack, right? Or you use him in a right mid position for a 3-back. It's still looking pretty decent, right? Now obviously the defensive stats is not in a super high area, and you could technically give him 100 because even in the 60s area for defense, because he has the high defensive work rate with intercept, this would still be a cool option. Like, I'm still not completely against this because it's medium versus medium high, right? So it's still pretty cool if you want to go in that direction. You know, obviously with Nkunku, I don't really see him having any sort of card that's like that in the future. And obviously if he gets improvements in the future, that'd be pretty cool too. So again, I'm not completely against this. He gets intercept plus, he gets the high defensive work rate, and he already has some pretty decent initial play styles to work with too. So for the Chelsea guys, like I said, I'm not completely against that. Goretzka, obviously a pretty decent option to go with. Do I feel like a lot of people will go with this card? Maybe not, unless they're working with Bundesliga teams. I don't often see Bundesliga teams. That's the reason why I'm saying I don't really see this card being chosen that often, right? So with this card, he turns into a high work rate card, right? So originally the card was a high medium. So I will say that the high work rate adjustment is a really big deal. Okay, the reason being for this is because with the 87 rating, he's going to get intercept plus, but now he turns into a high work rate card with a 4-star weak foot. So if you're lined up in formations where you're using 2 CDMs in a 4-2-3-1, or you're using a formation like a 4-4-2, and you don't mind that his agility and balance can be a little bit weird sometimes, you have a very good all-rounded card on a shadow chemistry style that stays on a mostly lengthy accelerate, right? So again, for people working with the Bundesliga teams, Bayern Munich, intercept on this card. He's also going to still have power shot, intercept, bruiser, 2 intercepts. I don't know what that means because Acuna has like the same thing with relentless, but it's not a terrible option by any means as well, right? So it just depends on the type of team that people are building for the most part. David Alaba is the next one. David Alaba is also going to be a pretty big option to work with because his play style is very different. I don't know if you guys remember, but last year we actually got an SBC version of David Alaba. There was a specific version that was probably meant more for the old gen, and then there was a specific version meant more for the new gen, right? And regardless of what card you chose, David Alaba was a card that, in my opinion, lasted for a pretty good amount of time in the game. And with this card, he has some pretty good adjustments, right? So right off the bat, Intercept Plus is cool, but I need to see what his rare gold card had before. He had nothing before, so that's actually a W, right? Because this card initially has Anticipate, and now he has Anticipate with Intercept while being a Real Madrid player that's now medium-high work rated, which, by the way, is significantly better than working with a rare gold version, which I think it might be medium. Oh, he's medium-high already. So I guess they changed that this year, because I think he used to be a medium-high from the years before. So the work rate change is not important. Intercept Plus is cool, but it's mainly for the Real Madrid links. Do I feel like people are going to spend 150k on him specifically? No, because honestly, there's a lot of very good center backs to work with for the links and whatnot. But for the Real Madrid guys, I can totally see it being done regardless, because with the evolutions, he gets some pretty nice upgrades as well. So again, wouldn't be a horrible option by any means as well. Let's see what else we got here for some pretty good options. Rare defender upgrade. You can see that Cancelo's trending the most because that work rate change is like a really big variable. We have Tchouaméni, who also has a new card, right? So this is the new version of his card compared to the radioactive version. The radioactive version is negatives in the pace department as well as the defensive department. So here's the thing, right? In my opinion, because I actually did the radioactive Tchouaméni, I prefer to have the radioactive Tchouaméni because he gets better links, right? The better links to work with on a shadow chemistry style to boost acceleration, to boost sprint speed and defense is great, because he's very helpful for right now and even in the future, because of the whole concept of like the radioactives giving you those links and stuff. So I like that personally. From the radioactive Maestro, he doesn't have any playstyle plus, but I don't really care. He has all the important ones, right? Anticipate, Bruiser, Relentless, Aerial, just a bunch of good stuff, right? So that's why that card was trending a lot from the YouTube channel, because genuinely very good option to work with too. Okay, sorry, just continue. We had to upload the 83 plus times 10. But yeah, guys, like I said, I like the variable of, you know, with the radioactive, I get the chemistry links, but there is also the variable of working with Intercept Plus in the middle for a taller player that's more physical, right? And you know what? The same thing can technically be said about the David Alaba card too, right? With an 87 rated. Like, even though you can switch him into the left back position, you can technically use this card as a CDM too, depending on how you line up your team, because he's well formatted for it, right? The shadow chemistry style would make him a controlled player. He wouldn't be a lengthy, but honestly not really that big of a deal, because his pace would be in a better area. 5'11" height is decent, and he's a left-footed player in the left-hand side, right? So again, would be a huge thing to work with there as well, so not too bad. Renato Sanchez has a new card as well. Honestly, guys, I'm not really like into getting Renato Sanchez this year. You know, in previous years, he used to be like a little bit better in my opinion. I feel like there's a new card, like it might have been the radioactive, that was actually like pretty decent, right? But this card, you give him a shadow chemistry style, you boost the pace, you boost the defense. I mean, you could totally do that. Is it really worth the price? No, I mean, the card's already high work rated and stuff, so it's kind of like, you know, for the most part. We also have players like Kim Min-jae. Giyu might do this one, to be honest with you. Obviously, from the informed version, you go to the evolutions, you get the rare defender upgrade, bang, right? You get a nice little improved version of Kim Min-jae, who gives you those South Korean links while also being a pretty decent defender to work with. So I know Giyu is definitely going to be all over this card whenever he does have the chance to get him. So not too bad there. Intercept Plus while working with Power Header, Intercept, Slide Tackle. So nothing too crazy, you know, nothing too crazy, but some decent stuff here and there for sure. Let's see what else we got here. So we have Mead, Rabiot. Rabiot has a new card as well. He already had the radioactive as well before, which was a pretty decent card, right? Obviously, you got some improvements in certain areas as a midfielder again, because of the 6'3" height of the card. This is a really big card to work with as well. I'm going to tell you why, okay? So, high defensive work rate change is a massive deal because he's originally a medium, which makes him a little bit more plain to work with, but medium high actually adds defensive elements to him. Intercept Plus, while being a tall card, physical as well, definitely going to be a very big variable to work with for a card that will still be mostly lengthy on that shadow chemistry style. And then play styles wise, he originally has power header, first touch, and aerial, which Nothing too crazy, to be honest, but because he's taller and he has Intercept Plus, you'll still be able to get some pretty solid defensive animations out of the card, especially if you require that sort of player playing in the midfield for your team, right? So, what else we got here? We got Upamecano. This one has a lot of options, right? That, like, a lot of these are definitely going to be sentimental for some people. You have the inform Upamecano already, so might as well buy that if you're going to be spending the money, to be honest. Bremer actually has some really good play styles. I remember because he was one of the examples to showcase the whole bruiser situation, because he has bruiser and block. So you can use the bruiser with the advanced defending with the press when you tap X to force his way through into certain positions, and then the block would be crazy because it works well with his body type, and now he has Intercept Plus. So a couple of cool stuff there too. He also has the Thunderstruck version, which is 98k. So do I see a lot of people choosing him? Probably not. Lissandro Martinez, 76 paces on the lower side. I mean, technically speaking, you could go with him. Not too bad there. Camavinga, I think it was always a high, right? Yeah. If he was like a medium or something, then that would be a huge variable too. Medium-high change, right? Chouameni on one side, Camavinga on the other wouldn't be bad. This card is someone who is a controlled player still on the Shadow Chemist style. Intercept Plus would be added to the card with Jockey, Block, Bruiser, Technical Flair. So again, still a pretty decent card as well. Declan Rice has his own card. Bronze, Kessier for the Saudi links. Not too bad there. Konate has a new card. Are people going to spend money on that? Probably not. Let's see some of the bigger options to work with here from the evolutions to see, because obviously there's always like the rating. Sometimes people go for sentimental value for some of these cards, and they could be pretty decent to work with. So let's see. Nkunku, João Cancelo, Gundogan, from all these, yeah, most of these are just going to be like for a higher rating. Koulibaly for the Saudi League links would not be too terrible. I mean, the acceleration stuff is on the lower side, but body type works decently in game, Benacer has an SPC card, so get that card instead, especially Tiki Taka Plus. That Benacer SPC is actually dope, by the way. So I try to tell people in the review video. He's not a trending card, but for the playstyle, guys, I love Tiki Taka Plus, man. I don't know what it is. Like, it's just passing playstyles just makes your cards like perform better, in my opinion. Saliba, you could go with Shaw too. Sergio Busquets still doesn't get the massive pace boost that he needs. Maybe in like a new promo in the future he will, but those cards, nah. Yeah. Let's see if anybody else is trending on the bins. Excuse me. Cancelo, Saliba, Nkunku, Goretzka, Alaba, and Lee, Soboslai, Ronaldo, Sanchez. Let's check out the popular ones here and go back to rare defender upgrade. And let's see. Gomez has a card, but he already has a Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck Gomez is actually pretty decent, by the way. He's pretty decent. He's on the Road to Glory account, and he actually does work for me. And he's gonna get more upgrades, I believe, too. Oh, Gonzalo Ignacio for the Sporting fans. That's actually not bad. This is actually the whole point of the evolutions. If he has good playstyles, he has okay playstyles, but you know how that goes. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the most part. I think the rest of the cards that you would get here would mostly be for sentimental value. There's gonna be some cards here that are still well formatted for the most part, but if you're gonna be spending your money, it's going to be on the top 6 cards, I would say, for the most part. Maybe some of these guys on the lower end too, depending on how you want to format your team. But Saliba and Cancelo definitely looking like the best bet so far from these potential upgrades that you can get. But remember, guys, the Intercept Plus for a card like Chouameni doesn't get the league, or he doesn't get the link thing like the radioactive cards. But because he's a bigger guy and he's playing down the middle, it's a really, really huge play style to work with. So look into that too if you use the radioactive for something else instead of Chouameni, right? So guys, just to show you some of the evolutions that essentially stacked, right? Because we always miss these ones, because Foot.gg is the one that actually shows it right away, is a card like Renato Sanchez. So if you were to get Renato Sanchez and you look at his evolution, if you started the card off in a rare defender upgrade, right, you would get a pretty significant boost on the card, and then you could put him into the radioactive afterwards. Radioactive Maestro afterwards. Wow, that's the way you would do it, eh? So if you didn't do Chouameni, like who would have thought? You know what I'm saying? Who would have thought? Because rare defender upgrade first, and then radioactive Maestro afterwards. That is awkward, man. That is super, super awkward. But hey, if people didn't do it, why not, right? 150k. You do a nice little double upgrade on the card. He turns into a radioactive maestro, helps you out with the links too. So, dude, if I was doing like, I'm gonna tell you guys this right now, bro. If I was doing some sort of like Portuguese thing, honestly, in this game, you gotta wait for evolutions to come out just to really guarantee that you want certain cards. Because this card looks way better to work with now. Intercept Plus with this card, Shadow Chemistry Style puts him at a 97 for acceleration, 94 for sprint speed, better defensive stats on a Shadow as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think the other card too that chat was telling me about was Frank Kessier as well, right? If you go to Kessier's card, you go to the Evolutions version, he's another one, right? So you can use his card, put him into Rare Defender Upgrade, and then Radioactive Maestro afterwards. And to be fair, yet again, you're working with a pretty good card, right? Shadow Chemistry Style makes him a mostly lengthy player, which is crazy for the pace if he has a good running animation. 90 acceleration, 93 sprint speed, significantly improved defensive stats, and then he gets Intercept Plus. So from this, if we go to Kessier's card, what original stuff does he have? He has Power Shot and Relentless, but then he gets Intercept Plus, right? So those are a few cards you can look at as well. You have to be like really, really careful with the evolutions, because what are the odds, right? One that was released earlier, if you didn't use, like, because look what you would have to do, right? You can't do anything afterwards. If you put these cards into it, you're done. So you'd have to wait for that card to come out, and then you get Incisive Pass, Long Ball Pass, Intercept, First Defender Upgrade into a Radioactive Maestro. Hilarious, man. For the record, I'm going to add this into the video just so that people can see, because some people get confused by this, right? Because they're like, oh, can you do it? Can you do it? Can you not do it? We were just looking into this, okay? Because I was paying attention to this afterwards, right? So when you do someone like Renato Sanchez, right? People are like, oh, you like it's their filter is not correct because for the evolutions, they have certain playstyles. No. Because look, in this one, number of playstyle pluses or playstyle pluses is maximum 0. If you put someone like Renato Sanchez, originally he does not have playstyle pluses, okay? So you do that into Rare Defender Upgrade, which is this requirement. But then when you go to the other requirement, which is the Radioactive Maestro, right? Radioactive Maestro, its number of playstyles max 8. So apparently you can do it, okay? So just be very mindful of that with these cards. Also, just to end off the video, people are telling me to check out Kondogbia's card. Oh, pronounced it incorrectly. This guy used to have such a crazy card. Like, I would say like 4 or 5 years ago. I forget exactly which FIFA it was, but he was nuts, man. Okay. Medium high by base. So he's another one, right? Rare Defender Upgrade first, Radioactive Maestro afterwards. It's a Marseille player that gives you links to Aubameyang while being a Radioactive Maestro, who is a medium-high work rated player that is also left-footed. Look at all these like variables, right? And then his original playstyles, he has a bunch of crazy playstyles. Power Shot, I don't care. Jockey, Intercept, so now he has Intercept Plus. Anticipate, Bruiser. That looks like a good card. And you know what it is, man, is that you have to understand that he's a lengthy player, right? He's a card that you use mainly in the CDM position as well. So when you give this card the Shadow Chemistry Style, the pace on the lower side, sure, but he's a CDM with a medium-high work rate. You know what I'm saying? With really good play styles to work with, good physical capabilities as well. So if you're working with that sort of variable right now and maybe in the future, this is also not a bad option to work with too. So couple of different ones. Gonna be up to the person. Guys, thanks for watching the video today. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.